I don't think anybody had any idea that Zelensky would be so impertinent, so disrespectful, so insulting to the United States of America. Look, this is one of the great moments in the history of American diplomacy. The way that President Trump and J.D. Vance stood up for American interests on the world stage, the way that President Trump defended Americans after years of being fleeced and abused and taken advantage of and taken for granted, millions of American hearts swelled with overflowing pride today to watch President Trump put Zelensky in his place. The only reason that Zelensky has a country, that Zelensky is in power, is because of the United States. Americans have suffered economically, funding this war now for years. American security has been degraded, our stockpiles depleted, our ability to project power in other regions of the world negatively affected to protect and defend Ukraine. Americans probably don't even know the true extent of just how much military support on multiple levels and fronts America has provided to Ukraine. And then this man shows up in the Oval Office and lectures us, says we have to do more, says we're not as good as Europe, says that we need to provide them a forever war guarantee, fight Russia till the end of time. No American watching that today says they want to send their sons and daughters to die on behalf of Zelensky. And President Trump was clear and firm and principled, saying either you're our partner for peace in ending this war, or we can't work with you. And Zelensky, for the first time since this has begun, finally met a Western leader willing to assert their own interests, the interests of their own country, and not bow down to and venerate this man as a messianic figure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody's pretty pissed with the United States right now, especially in Europe.
Yeah, I don't give a damn, but I mean, what are we supposed to do? Keep funding, like you said, keep funding the war and keep letting people die? Like, we want the war to be over. I'm sorry. Shoot. But everybody always hated on America, so I mean, it is what it is.
Just because it's Trump.
Yeah.
I've asked this Congress to investigate where has this money gone. The American people are owed that answer because it's our money. It's our taxpayer dollars.
And there's a lot of really good reason to be concerned because, you know, the Ukraine was known as a, you know, place of corruption, a place for money laundering.
Yeah. It's not like we sent $1 billion, as if that was even a small number to begin with, right? We've sent 100 times that to one country. I don't know how this Congress is allowed to get away with it. And Zelensky is out there. He went on the world stage and said, Russia fired a rocket into Poland, which would literally be an act of war. Well, it turned out that Russia fired no such rocket. It turned out that the rocket came from the Ukraine and was fired into Poland.
And it was a mistake, basically.
If Zelensky's going to go out there and beg the world for more money and come to the U.S. and sit in the well of our Congress and say, we want more money, and then call and demand the new Speaker of the House provide more and more money, and call Mitch McConnell and say, we need more and more machinery.
Call him Mitch.
He needs to be more prepared about global statements that bring us to the precipice of war than doing what he did last fall with this missile attack, or this missile launch, I should say. And we just can't have full faith and trust by giving a leader $100 billion and having him say, I'm not telling you where the money went.
Yeah, that's a problem, bro.
That's a huge problem.
Cashman always breaks it down to where it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I like him a lot, man.
Now, me too, but I'm
That's
telling you,
that's
that's
my
our
favorite
5-star
confirmation.
quarterback.
Nah,
It's
fact.
just like, so the European countries, do they really want to go to war behind this? Like,
Oh, they've been saying some pretty crazy stuff lately.
They not gonna do that if they smart, but if they do, that's on them. We can't get in there. But that's NATO.
They're gonna try
we
to
need
bring-
to leave NATO.
but like, you know what I heard? Like, this happened a long time ago with World War II. They brought America in it because somebody said it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said the Japanese wasn't the real ones that bombed Pearl Harbor.
I don't know, man.
That is a conspiracy theory.
No, hell no. That's confirmed.
Some people
That's
said
a real deal thing.
They weren't?
That they did it.
Yeah,
That's what
I know.
I'm saying.
I'm saying, but I said it was
They
some
had to go
conspiracy
spin
theories.
about that. I ain't gonna 2 lie.
It was
but
some conspiracy theories that somebody did that to
way
force
they did
America to actually join World War II to help to actually stop everything. That's what I was told.
But there was that
I was
happened,
on-
and
I don't know if
wasn't
it's true.
Hitler doing, so they had to. There's multiple reasons.
America didn't care about what Hitler was doing. America got drugged into. America is an isolationist country, like we're doing right now.
because of Japan blowing up Pearl Harbor.
Hey everyone, let's talk about something that a lot of us deal with: debt. If you're feeling overwhelmed by credit cards, personal loans, collections, or even medical bills, you're not alone. It can feel really tough, but there is a way out. PDS Debt does more than just help you with your debt, though. They empower you to take control. Using their platform, they go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. No more cookie cutter solutions, just a clear path to financial freedom that fits your lifestyle. PDS Debt has helped many people who are in this position.
Being in debt can affect your life, guys. I mean, you can be in all types of trouble as far as your credit, and it could just affect you from buying a home or car or anything. And I remember I was in debt in college. I mean, I went over my credit card limit, and I noticed that it was affecting my credit. So I was like, wow, okay, like I really have to figure this out. So if I had a solution where I could get money and just figure out how to pay off my credit card loans, I would have been okay right now. I mean, I got better, but this definitely is a solution to just help anybody that's in need of anything.
Yeah, they will take care. They will help you out, man.
Medical, personal loans,
Yeah,
credit
medical
card,
bills,
collection.
credit card loans, personal. Yeah.
Well, there it is, guys. I mean, I feel like this is a well-trusted source, and you guys should get PDS Debt.
Yeah, guys, PDS Debt works directly with you. They're tailoring a plan that works just for you and your unique needs. They're not just offering a one-size-fits-all solution. Like, they are really going to take care of you and make sure you individually are, safe and have peace of mind. So, if you're ready to start planning your way out of debt, it is easy. Take the first step. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/CartierFamily. It only takes literally 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/CartierFamily.
The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing. The UK is prepared.
So this is the president, the prime minister of the UK, Keir Starmer. He's saying that they're going to do the work. Finally, they're going to start putting in some effort to defend this. But now they saying they want us to pay for this shit?
Well, apparently, if they had to hop in, then we have to hop in.
Hell no.
Due to NATO.
We done paid $175 billion. Man, we should leave
Proszę Państwa,
NATO.
jest taki paradoks i ktoś słusznie zauważył, że i zobaczcie jak to brzmi. 500 milionów Europejczyków prosi 300 milionów Amerykanów.
So they got 500 million and they want us to sit. No.
Why do they want to fight, bro?
I'm going to keep it 100,000 million
That's
trillion.
crazy.
They want Big Brother.
I'm going to keep it 100 million% honest. I've said this a million times. I don't think any U.S. soldier ever go to war and die to defend a foreign flag, period. Ever. Unless we at threat.
Żeby oni ich obronili przed 140 milionami Rosjan.
This is crazy.
Chcę się powtórzyć tylko te słowa. Umiesz liczyć,
Trump not
to
doing that
licz
shit.
na siebie. Zacznij liczyć na siebie. Nie w odosobnieniu, ale z pełną świadomością własnego potencjału. Europa, jeśli czegoś dzisiaj nam brakuje, to przecież nie przewagi gospodarczej czy ludnościowej, tylko wiary w to, że jesteśmy naprawdę globalną potęgą. Proszę Państwa, jest
So again, these are the same countries that was talking all that shit on our leadership, all that stuff on our people, all that stuff on Trump and this and that, saying that we're despised globally. Now they begging for us to come help them, begging for us to send them some money. You see how this shit works? This is crazy,
This
man.
shit is weird, bro.
This is a game. This is pathetic.
I think Donald Trump is doing an amazing job so far on the things that he ran on, immigration. The border is, just his taking office, the border is effectively shut down. The attitude change from the federal government effectively closed the border. Look at the people coming across now. Look at the encounters today versus what was going on with Biden. I think on March 4th, you're going to hear them talk a lot about the success on immigration. As it relates to Ukraine, look, Zelensky made a huge mistake on Friday. All he had to do was show up and sign this deal, and he just couldn't do it. And sometimes these guys, when they put on the military uniform, they have trouble taking it off. He needs to take off the military garb, put on the garb of diplomacy, and understand that he's got an honest new broker on the field who can actually help him end this war, maintain his sovereignty, maintain prosperity for the Ukrainians. And regarding Elon and the bureaucracy, if I just may respond to something you said about the bureaucracy, there seems to be, when Republicans are president, that this idea that the bureaucracy and the government should not be responsive to the political leadership of the executive branch. That is totally false. It has nothing to do with a loyalty test, but it does have to do with whether or not the unelected bureaucracy is responsive to the political oversight of the government. And Democrats right now do not seem to believe that the president should be able to be the president. We have elections for a reason in this country.
Facts.
We vest all executive authority in a president of the United States, not in an unelected bureaucracy, not in independent agencies, but in a president. The president's agenda matters. When a Republican is president, the bureaucracy resists. It has to stop.
That sounds more like a king. It does not sound like
Sounds like our
president of the
Constitution
United
to me. There's two parties, Dana. One wants bigger government, one wants smaller government. I think I'll take it to the midterms.
All right,
Come on,
I ain't gonna
man.
lie.
He's grilling them every day, man.
Every time I sit down and think about this, if Kamala was real life a president right now, we might have been over there right now, guys.
Hut 2, 3,
if they're gonna
4.
keep-
Hut 2, 3, 4.
Because I'm really, like sitting down and really think about it. Zelensky don't have no troops out there, and they're like,
Look at that strong boy right there.
They're dragging people off the street. That means you know what's next,
Bro, that's why he wants us to continue funding it. He wants us to send our people to come help and die with him.
He want Big Brother.
I think that should never happen.
It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
See, now we have a competent leader, and that'll never happen. Y'all see what they were saying about Scott, though? You know, Mitch McConnell in Kentucky, he's stepping down. They saying Scott should run for his seat.
Oh, shit.
Okay, Scott.
Man, I think Scott should stay right where he at, bro.
That. I'm saying, like, look, like you leave
He's
CNN,
impacting
we gonna
people.
miss him a lot. But hey, he can make some real change.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like he's reaching more people right now because a lot of people are seeing what he's doing, and then especially on the channel, it's like he's. I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch. I could not watch CNN.
Yeah, what else, Scott?
If he was not on there, I couldn't, bro.
That is fact.
So for selfish reasons, I hope he does not do it.
Well, and they also, though, think that they're in more alignment, and they should be, with the U.S. when it comes to those freedoms and things you talk about. Certainly, those are not things that you would say that Russia or Putin celebrates or bestows on his own people.
That's correct. I would not make that claim, and it's clear that that's not the case, nor does President Trump. But that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about many of these European countries and Zelensky himself, who claim to be standing and fighting for the cause of freedom and democracy, when we actually look at what's happening in reality in these countries, as well as with Zelensky's government in Ukraine, is the exact opposite. You have the canceling of elections in Ukraine. You have political parties being silenced or even criminalized or thrown in prison. You have the freedom of religion, churches being shut down. You have political opposition being silenced. You have total government control of the media. We could go down a whole laundry list of issues that are against the values of democracy and freedom. So it really begs the question, as Vice President Vance said again in Munich, it's clear that they're standing against Putin. Obviously, that's clear. But what are they actually really fighting for? And are they aligned with the values that they claim to hold in agreement with us, the values that President Trump and Vice President Vance are standing for? And those are the values of freedom, of peace, and true security.
All right, so the way that you describe Ukraine and the way that most Americans and most of the world understands Russia, are you saying it's essentially choosing between the lesser of two evils?
What I'm focused on is what President Trump is focused on, which is peace, seeing the world through a very clear picture and making sure that the president is having honest and good faith negotiations with both of these countries to bring about an end to this war. That is what it's about. That lives are at stake. The potential of World War III, if this war continues to go on and escalate, is what's at stake.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it
keep
is.
sitting here and think, if Kamala was sitting down right now,
We don't know what could possibly
Hut
happen.
2, 3, 4.
no, we'd have been out there with the XM4.
Yeah, we
all
really don't
four
know.
of us having the XM4 or a M14 around our goddamn
'Cause when
chest.
JD went to that conference, we should have knew that when they talked, after JD talked, and he was just like, okay, well, the United States seems like they're not with us anymore. You know, they were pretty upset then, so we should have known this was gonna come.
I'm just surprised that we are literally NATO. Like, we're literally NATO. We pay all this money into NATO, more than all these other countries combined. And now that we're not paying any money to a country that's begging to get in, that's causing the war, they got a problem with that.
I mean, we're for peace. We literally stopped terrorist groups. So if you're not siding with us, I think we side with peace a lot of the time. I don't know what Joe Biden and them was doing,
Man.
but America side with peace at all times.
I think
No,
this.
all
I think
times.
Most
the
times.
criticisms.
Most times.
I think the
Most
criticisms that have come out from all these world leaders, from where they criticized Americans, they talk talked all the shit. Now all they press and all their countries is denigrating America, talking down on America, just for their leaders to turn around and beg for our help is more reason why we should be in isolation in this country.
I feel like if you don't got no money, why are you fighting the war anyway?
Why are you egging on the war if you need the money of another country to win?
Exactly. Well, if they want to have peace and you want peace, and like Scott said, you're going to get most of the things
democracy.
you want. I don't know. And they known for being, they known for scamming over there. So
that's why I was seeing that like back in the day, the liberal media used to always talk about how corrupt Ukraine is, and now it's a fight for democracy now. It's crazy.
Well, our government's corrupt. Well, the last government, the last administration.
Joining us this morning, has there been any contact with President Zelensky since Friday?
Well, I haven't had any contact with him since Friday. We have plenty of contacts with him, though. Plenty. I mean, he met in the last 10 days. He's met with the Secretary of Commerce. He spoke to the president on the phone, met with the Secretary of Commerce, met with me, met with the Vice President, met with our special envoy, and then was invited and came over on, invited, he wanted to come over on Friday to sign this commercial deal. It didn't happen. So there's been plenty of contact with them. I've talked to the foreign minister several times, not since then. And we'll see moving forward. I think the last line in the president's Truth Social post is the one to focus in on, and that is, we'll be ready to re-engage when they're ready to make peace, which is clearly what the president's goal is here. He's trying to get Russia to the table to see if there's a way to bring about an end to this conflict. That's his goal. That's his only goal. That's his centralized focus. And, hopefully we'll get to a point where that's possible.
The British Prime Minister said this morning that the United Kingdom and France are working on a peace plan with Ukraine to present to the U.S. Do you know where things stand with that plan?
I know.
No, I mean, I've talked to both of the foreign ministers of France and the UK yesterday, and I explained to them sort of the events leading up to what you saw on Friday. Look, I think what's really important here is to understand the dynamic. The president is basically saying there's this horrible war. It's been going on for 3 years. It is a bloody stalemate, a meat grinder type war, and he wants it to end. How does it end? It's very simple. The only way it ends is if Vladimir Putin comes to a negotiating table. And right now, President Trump is the only person on earth who has any chance whatsoever of bringing him to a table to see what it is he would be willing to end the war on. Now, maybe their claims or what they want, their demands will be unreasonable. We don't know, but we have to bring him to the table. You're not going to bring him to the table if you're calling him names, if you're being antagonistic. That's just the president's instincts from years and years and years of putting together deals as someone who's in business. And that's the only goal here.
Let me just stop you there for 1 second.
Why is it a war with no end in sight?
Why is it okay to call President Zelensky Why is it okay to call President Zelensky a dictator, but not, as you say, call Vladimir Putin names?
He needs to get fired, bro.
Listen, we've spent 3 years calling Vladimir Putin names. That's not the point. The point that we're at now is we're trying to get the man to a table, the Russians. And I've said from the very beginning, maybe they don't want a deal either. We don't know. But we haven't talked to them in 3 years. But maybe they do. The point is, do we want to make... I would ask everybody this. If there are no negotiations, what is the alternative? Another 4 years of war, another 3 years of war, in which the United States and Europe continues to pour billions of dollars into a war in Ukraine? Is that the alternative? I've asked every foreign minister I meet with, tell me your idea of how this turns out. Most don't have a plan. A few have said, well, let's give them another year of fighting. A year from now, a year later, after another year of death, another year of destruction, then maybe Putin will be ready to negotiate at that point. That doesn't sound like a good plan to me, and it certainly is not a plan the president's on board with.
It's not just about getting people to the table, it's about keeping agreements that are made. And that was one of the points that President Zelensky was making in the Oval Office on Friday, is that Vladimir Putin has not kept the agreements that were made in the past. Wasn't he right about that?
But what is moving forward is the question, not the past. No one here is claiming Vladimir Putin is going to get the Nobel Peace Prize this year, or that he should be the man of the year of the Humanitarian Association. What we're arguing here is he has a very large country. They're in full war footing. They're cranking out weapons now at a war footing pace. And we need to figure out, is there a way to get them to stop the war? And the only way you're going to do that is to get Russians engaged in negotiations, something the Europeans haven't been able to do, the Biden administration wasn't able to do or didn't even try. That's the goal here. It's that simple. Can we try to sit with them and figure out whether there's anything, what are the Russians' demands, under what conditions would the Russians be willing to stop this war? And as I said, we don't know what those are because we haven't talked to them in 3 years. That's the singular goal here, is to try to bring about an end to this conflict, and it begins by getting them to the table. Ultimately, like any truce, like any peace agreement anywhere in the world, those things will have to be enforced, they'll have to be enduring, there'll have to be safeguards put in place. Everybody understands that. But it begins with the first step, and that is engaging them to see if it's even possible. Because if it's not possible, then what we're looking at is a protracted stalemate with thousands of people dying, billions of dollars pouring in, and more death and destruction. And that's not something.
I just got one comment to make. Don't Russia have the most nuclear weapons in the world?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what the are we talking about?
I don't know.
I don't understand why we trying to poke that bear.
But before Putin lose, that nigga gon' tweak out.
Yeah, he is.
No.
Oh, I got no more soldiers, bro.
But no, it's crazy. Nobody thought about. It's just crazy. Like Joe Biden in real life was just sending this small ass country money for them to fight something that they know they're gonna lose.
They have the most nuclear power. They have more than the United States.
They do.
So
They got nuclear labs out there.
Bro.
Yeah.
They've had them
You
blow
know, they
up.
made
You ever heard
AKs
of
and
Chernobyl?
Dracos, and it's cold. They cold hearted out there.
This crazy guy, how they make him seem? Do they think he's gonna just lose? So y'all are literally letting people die for no reason. I bet that's what Trump's thinking.
But you got to think about this too. The
got
Russians got the drones,
that
and Ukrainians don't even got drones.
Man,
Drone
Russia
bombs.
is ready for war. Everybody knows that.
It's Russia, bro.
We scared of them over here.
You know that.
Mark you off in.
Something the president wants to be a part of. He's made it very clear.
Aren't those talks feasible only if the United States is willing to also provide security guarantees to Ukraine? That was the point that President Zelensky was also making in the Oval Office.
Well, the security guarantees, which I actually like to call deterrence of a few, is all contingent upon there being a peace. Everybody's saying security guarantees to secure the peace. You first have to have a peace. We don't even know if the peace is possible. And this was understood by the Ukrainians. It was explained to them repeatedly. And that is, here's our strategy. We're trying to get Putin to a negotiating table. Let's not rehash. Everyone knows the history here, the back and forth. We understand that. We all understand that. But the question now is, can we get them to a table to negotiate? That's our goal. Don't do anything to disrupt that. And that's what Zelensky did, unfortunately, is he found every opportunity to try to Ukraine-splain on every issue. Then he confronts the vice president. When the vice president says, the goal here is diplomacy, he immediately jumps in and challenges the vice president. Well, what kind of diplomacy? So we all understand, okay, that Putin is not going to be an easy negotiator in this regard. We all get that. But we have to start the process to see if something is even possible. And I honestly am puzzled. I just don't understand. The Biden administration berated Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis, put all kinds of conditions and pressure on them to try to get a ceasefire. In this particular case, we've been nice by comparison. And all we're trying to do here is figure out whether a peace is possible. All these other things that people keep bringing up, that'll have to be a part of a negotiation. Right now, there is no negotiation. Shouldn't we at least try to see if there is a way to end this war in a way that's acceptable to both sides and is enduring and sustainable? How is that a bad thing? I really am puzzled why anyone thinks that trying to be a peacemaker is a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when it's Donald Trump trying to do it. When it's President Trump, it's absurd to me.
It is.
Well, even some of your Republican allies are puzzled by the steps that President Trump has taken to placate Vladimir Putin. I want to bring up a post that Lisa Murkowski.
Well, which ones? What steps has the president taken to placate?
Let me show you what. Lisa
Are we arming the
Russians?
Are we providing economic assistance to the Russians? Have we given the Russians $180 million?
Please let me ask you a question. This is Lisa Murkowski.
Ukraine is not going to beat
Here's what
Russia.
she says.
So
this week started with administration officials refusing to acknowledge that Russia started the war in Ukraine. It ends with a tense and shocking conversation in the Oval Office and whispers from the White House that they may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine. I know foreign policy is not for the faint of heart, but right now I am sick to my stomach as the administration appears to be walking away from our allies and embracing Putin, a threat to democracy and U.S. values around the world. Those are not my words. That's Senator Lisa Murkowski. What's your response?
What is that?
Well, yeah, we're a free country. People have a right to these opinions. I would just say to you, what have we done to placate the Russians? The only thing we've done is say, are you guys willing to talk about peace? I say the same point. We're not giving them. We haven't given.
You voted with North Korea and Russia and you voted with North Korea and Russia and Belarus in the United Nations and against our Western allies.
No, let me tell you. All right. So do you know what the United Nations resolution was? I'll tell you if you want to hear what it was. It basically said this has been a horrible war. It's time for it to end. The job of the UN is to bring about peace in the world. I thought that's what the UN was created to do, to stop wars and to prevent them. And that's what the resolution did. Was it antagonistic towards the Russians? No. Back to the point. But it also didn't praise the Russians. All it said is, this is a bad war. It needs to end. And by the way, at the Security Council, which has not been widely reported, the first resolution on Ukraine that has passed the Security Council in 3 years, passed this week because of the leadership of President Trump. And it's a resolution that says, bad war needs to end. Let's bring the two sides together. That's what the resolution is. Again, what is the United Nations for? Isn't it not a forum to promote peace in the world? And shouldn't our president, shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't. Other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd. We are trying to end a war. You cannot end a war unless both sides come to the table, starting with the Russians. And that is the point the president has made. And we have to do whatever we can to try to bring them to the table to see if it's even possible. I'm not promising you it's possible. I'm not telling you it's 90% likely. I'm saying it's 0% likely if we don't get them to a negotiating table. And the sooner everyone grows up around here and figures out that this is a bad war that's heading in a bad direction with death and destruction and all kinds of dangers surrounding it that could spiral into a broader conflict, the sooner people grow up and realize that, I think the more progress we're going to be able to make. But the president's crystal clear. He campaigned on it, and he's going to govern on it. And that is, he is going to be a president that tries to achieve peace, and he has been very clear this is a war that would have never happened had Donald Trump been in the White House, and it needs to end, and we're going to do everything we can to end it in an enduring and sustainable and fair way.
You said in your confirmation hearings that Russia will have to make concessions to get a peace deal. What concessions do you expect them to make?
Well, why would I say that on a news broadcast? That's what negotiations are about. That's the problem here. Again, this is not a messaging exercise, okay? This is, can they get to a table? And then there's hard work to be done. You're absolutely right. I'm not telling you this is an easy peace deal. The Russians will give you a 30-minute lecture on the history of Ukraine and this, that, and the other. The Ukrainians have their own point of view. There's no doubt about it. But what peace deal in the history of the world has ever been easy? That's the hard work of diplomacy. That's exactly what the vice president was alluding to. That's what peace deals involve. You've covered this. You've been around for a long time. These conflicts are not easy to solve. But you can't solve them at all if you don't even have a process to try to solve it, if you don't have the parties at the table. And right now, that's been our goal. It's been explained crystal clear to the Ukrainians and the Europeans and everyone else who wants to know for weeks now. And the only thing they were told is, do not do things to derail it. And sadly, President Zelensky, couldn't contain himself in that regard. I hope this could all be reset. I hope he comes to the realization that we're actually trying to help his country here before it suffers thousands of more casualties. 3 million people have already left Ukraine. Are they ever going to be able to come back? He's got Ukrainians being held prisoner, including children, on the Russian side. Why is any of this good for anybody? And the argument that we're going to just keep it going forever, that's absurd. So it's time
Damn, they hold kids for prisoners and stuff. Damn.
Bro, and it's sad because this is why I think, my personal opinion, if they continue to let this war go on, Russia's going to completely take over that country.
Yeah.
Why nobody's thinking like that?
Well, they think the U.S. is going to come in and stop that.
But the thing is, that's why that conference was so crazy. I didn't know how significant that conference was until...
What, the JD one?
Yeah.
But they was talking about sharing the same ideology as Americans.
Europe.
Yeah. No, Europe was supposed to... JD was telling them because they was trying to censor people for that. It wasn't about war, though.
Yeah. But, I mean...
It shows where people's minds are at.
But, yeah. Because he was the guy that got up there crying and all that. He was, that we see where America stands and all this, and now they ask America for money. I don't know, man. These people are crazy, though. They should help Ukraine if they just feel so strongly about it. Why the hell y'all not listening to us and we the big dog? I just don't get that shit.
Well, Ukraine not even a part of NATO. And to be honest with you, I think the real reason why Putin invaded Ukraine was because they was probably negotiating, trying to get them part of NATO without.
But isn't Poland above?
It's to the west of it.
So but it's on the border. It's a border of Poland.
Poland should be right next to Germany. It should be right next or behind.
So Germany's not in NATO? No.
Germany isn't part of NATO.
So I'm confused.
I think all of Europe.
All Europe is part of NATO.
Besides Ukraine.
Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union back in the day, and it became an independent nation from that. So it's just an independent nation right now.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. I mean, and when I hear that shit, though, it seemed like Putin just trying to fight just because, he got off the history of the situation.
Not even that. It's just he don't want...
But he's ready to end it if Trump says end it.
I know, but you can't keep saying that, I don't want a country on my border. a part of NATO, he has other countries around him that's a part of NATO.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
What
That's
other
what I'm
countries
confused
is
about.
on NATO that's right next to?
That's why I just asked you.
entirety
And
of
Germany
Europe.
and Poland right there.
The
Poland is
entirety
not
of-
right there.
The entirety of Europe.
Okay, go over. Let me show you. It's about 4 countries, straight line till you go to Russia.
Damn, Russia big. Hold
Nigga,
on.
I'm finna show
This
you.
is the biggest.
Hold on, bro. Is Russia this big? Actually?
Yes, that's why I don't know why niggas trying to fight that country.
But their population, like,
Go
it's
here.
not
I'm
dense.
finna show you where Ukraine at. It's hella countries before you even get to Poland or none of that. It's a straight line of countries right here before you even get
All
to NATO.
these countries in the blue are all a part of NATO surrounding
The
Russia.
baby blue.
All blue. Every single blue one.
So these even that.
Yes, every single blue
where's
one is a
Ukraine?
part of
Ukraine's
NATO.
over there?
Ukraine right here in the blue, and it's not part of NATO.
All the dark blue ones are NATO members.
I ain't gonna lie, man.
Ukraine is not part
That's
of NATO.
why Jay-Z said it's a manpower thing, because it's like you just doing. I feel like Putin just doing it just to.
Yeah, the light blue ones are a partnership for
No.
peace. So Finland.
He is
and
doing it to
Sweden.
drop his nuts.
No, he's doing it because he believes it's his.
Them light blue ones, a lot
That's
of them
dropping
blue.
his nuts.
No, that's just saying just
But
to
they're
prove a
not
point.
own-
It's
but
not to
hold
prove
on.
a point. He feels like it is rightfully
This
there.
is
But
a
they have
security
their
threat.
own-
based on the Tucker
He
interview.
forgives. It's a
All,
security.
They have
all those
their
blue
own-
countries are part of NATO. Some of the lighter blue ones are a partnership.
Man,
for
he
peace,
probably like,
and
man.
then some of the blue ones are individual partnerships. But all the dark blue ones are NATO. All of those are surrounding
So that's what
Russia.
I'm trying to figure
Man,
out.
let me
They're
see
already
that
their own
right
country.
there.
So why he tweaking?
I don't know.
To drop his nuts.
Nah, that isn't. That's
No,
not.
bro.
What y'all think? What you think, Brandon? Why you think Putin tweaking that?
Putin.
He wants
Yes.
that.
Because they have
If
like
you want that, I'm dropping my nuts, right?
No, dropping your nuts is just doing something just to make a
because
point.
because he doesn't
That's
think
what he's doing,
because
though.
he says
I think
it's
he's doing
he
this
says-
to make a
he
point.
says it's a conflict
No.
to their security that Ukraine joins NATO.
But all of them are in NATO. All them countries are
None of those
by
countries
Russia.
were like
Yeah, they weren't. I think they
None of
used
those
to own
countries-
Ukraine.
None of those countries gained
Yes.
their independence from Russia.
So
Right.
if it's a history situation, so you're basically saying it's history. He doesn't want them to get Ukraine.
So every single one of them countries that's blue is NATO, right? Like I just said, right?
But that's Ukraine.
I mean,
That's
they all
Belgium.
they're all
They're
All
all
right
surrounding
there.
it.
yeah, they all right there.
None of those countries gained their independence from Russia.
Yeah,
Except
that-
Ukraine.
they feel like it's rightfully theirs, I guess.
But so if you fighting somebody because I feel like that's rightfully mine. But it's also y'all have your own. They have a flag. They have their own nation already.
Yeah, I don't know.
They was under the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. And he's saying that's why Putin gave Tucker a long.
Yeah, I know that shit was
conversation.
crazy.
Because he felt like, and then he like, well, nope, I can't let them do that. So that's basically me dropping my nuts, man. To me, like, I don't want y'all to have that. That's just what that is.
Nah,
dropping my
I'm pretty
nuts.
sure you got more reasons than that.
What is it
That's just
then?
what we was able to understand. I don't know exactly, but it's
I think
more
they
than
was
just
gonna-
I want that. Like
Probably they was gonna put a military
Like,
base
they
and all
got
that type
reasons.
of shit right there.
But if he didn't, bro, I don't know, bro. I just feel like if they're already their own nation, he wasn't going over there no way. Like, where he going? Imagine.
All I know
See,
is
listen,
he came to the
listen,
table to negotiate
listen.
peace, and they did not.
Listen, they were their own nation, right? But they had an independent partnership. They're trying to abandon that independent partnership and join NATO.
That's a problem.
why he's not happy. They're abandoning that
all those
independent
other
partnership.
countries
He
are
said they
NATO.
didn't consult with him.
But they were
just went.
from Russia
Yeah,
already.
they went. They supposed to be in agreement with Russia. NATO's not in agreement with Russia. So they just left their agreement with Russia
Putin
to try to
and
join
Zelensky.
NATO without consulting with Russia. And he like, hold on, little
feel like
bro.
America would've
He's
did the same
he's
thing.
Because he's like, hold on, little bro. Like, y'all got y'all independence from us. Y'all supposed to be in partnership with us. Now y'all joining the ops without consulting with us. Oh, nah, little brother. So that's why they at war.
That's like trying to do
That's
with
how I
Mexico.
understand it. I could be wrong,
Yeah,
y'all.
that's how I
Somebody could come and
understand it,
educate us. But that's how I understand it based on what the interview with Putin
I
said
feel like both of them tripping. now.
with Tucker.
I feel like both of them is tripping now because they both just like JD said, they trying to both drop their nuts. Like they both something, they both something.
I don't understand why we care about Ukraine so much as Americans personally. I don't give a shit what happens to that white supremacist country.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't give a shit.
It's weird, guys, but
They got Nazi flags
If y'all
and shit
feel like
hanging around. They got swastikas on the Ukraine flag and they soldiers. They persecuting Christians and shit. I don't give a flip what happened to that country. I'm just keeping it
I
100.
don't know. Y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments, though, guys.